two different models. There's a Guarneri model and a Strad model, and I'd be interested to hear what kind of what differences you can pick up between them.
Show the instrument.
Yeah, so this yellow violin is the Guarneri del Gesù model. I was in my 30s when I got the inspiration to make violins. I went to violin school for 3 years in Wales, then went and joined a shop in Chicago, Bynum Fushi. And I apprenticed there for 3 years. And then moved out west to Tacoma, Washington, and then the final move was back down to the Bay Area, now in Santa Rosa. I've made over 70 cellos, well over 100 violins, a handful of violas, one bass. The second one, this red-coloured violin, is a Strad model. It's actually... So it's based on the Titian Strad, and the thing I like about that model is it has a small body. It's a very, very similar size, in fact, to the Guarneri.
I'll play the same selection from Bach.
Starting with this, I take an outline based on the purfling line on the poster. I draw this outline from my template onto this piece of paper. The mold goes onto the board, and there you can see it's holding the blocks in the corners and at the ends, and these are the lines I'm going to bend the sides to. Not having the lines totally controlled, it gives a little fluidity into the overall outline, which makes for a more organic looking shape rather than something that's very tight and symmetrical. So the sides are made of 6 strips of maple. They're thinned down to about 1 millimeter in thickness. This one's just about done. If you heat the wood up, the resins melt, and then the fibers can slip past each other. And then when we take it off the heat, they'll remain where they've moved to. They used to just heat up a big slug of metal in the fire or on top of a stove or something and set that up on the bench and then bend really quickly.
It has some brilliance, definitely, but I don't know, again, how much of it goes there.
For that short notes, it's carrying quite well.
Yeah. It's responsive.
Yeah.
It's a little bit resistant around A string.
This is really ancient glue. I mean, the Egyptians used it. Call it an animal glue. It's made of animal protein. This particular one's made of, what do they call it? Gelatin from cold water fish skin. It actually happens to be liquid at room temperature. The traditional hide glues, you have to warm them up. So now I'm making pigment to colour my varnish with, and it's a lake pigment. What it is an organic vegetable dye, in this case madder root, which gives a nice kind of browny red. Violin making, it's in a way it's like a performance. You set out and you try to do it according to a certain form, but depending on how controlled you are, and you might choose to be less controlled, stuff happens. Things come out slightly different to what you were intending. This set of ribs is definitely leaning off to one side somewhat. It's leaning to that side. And at that point, you either try and fix it, or you go with it and kind of improvise around it. There's been a number of Japanese things that I've come across that I found interesting, Japanese art and philosophy, and one of the things that has really captured my attention has been wabi-sabi, which is the philosophy of acceptance that nothing's perfect, nothing's finished, and nothing lasts. So it's kind of the aesthetics of the acceptance of imperfection. One thing that we did for a while was in the shop in the mornings we do enso circles. It's a meditation that it's a calligraphy where you draw a circle and you just accept the result for what comes out. You try to. It throws up all sorts of stuff about your judgments and your wishes, but it also makes you look at the thing that you're producing and see its inherent qualities.
Say something about what your experience with that one, or how would you characterize that?
Boy, I don't know. It's tough sometimes to come up with the words. This might make a good bluegrass fiddle.
What I really like about it is that there's always more to learn. As long as you engage your mind, you're always coming up with new questions to ask.
Boy, that's a beauty.
Lovely.
That is a beauty. Makes anything you play sound good.
People that really study violins, they really think of the scroll as the signature of the maker. Sometimes, I'll try and discipline myself to make it look as far as I can like a scroll that I've seen that somebody else did that I like. It can start taking on a life of its own. You can get some nice surprises and some not so nice surprises. I can either be a very strict disciplinarian or I can just kind of go with the flow. And usually it's a mixture of the two. The violin as a tool and instrument, I can't think of anything else in the world where the user gives as much attention and love and hours of work as musicians do with their violins, with their instruments. You get rewarded or punished for taking risks, and I like that. You experiment, and some things work, some things don't. A lot of blind alleys you can go down, but gradually, slowly, overall, I think, if you keep an inquisitive mind and keep on experimenting, you keep on moving, getting closer to, at least making something that's more interesting than the last one. down at this end and they have to decide